The footage played on every screen across human space. 3 women in military uniforms stood straight and proud. Their hands were tied behind their backs. Commander Sarah Chen looked directly at the camera with calm eyes. Commander Amara Okonkwo held her chin high. Commander Yuki Tanaka showed no fear on her face. The Kaldrith Empire wanted everyone to watch. They wanted to send a message. These 3 human commanders had refused orders. The Empire told them to bomb civilian cities. The commanders said no. They would not kill innocent people. The Kaldrith soldiers raised their weapons. The 3 commanders did not look away. They did not beg. They stood together until the end. 3 weeks later, the video still haunted the galaxy. The Kaldrith High Council met in their grand palace. They drank expensive wine. They laughed about the execution. "The humans are broken now," said Councillor Vextar. "They will obey us." Emperor Kaldrath raised his glass. "Those 3 females thought they could defy us. Now they are dead. Let this be a lesson to all humans." But far away on a quiet colony world, something stirred. Captain Alexei Volkov sat in his small house. He had been retired for 5 years. He lived alone. He grew vegetables. He read books. He tried to forget the war. His old military computer beeped. It had not made a sound in years. Volkov walked slowly to the desk. His hands were rough from farm work. His hair was gray now, but his eyes were still sharp. The screen showed an encrypted message. Only a few people in the galaxy knew this code. Volkov entered his password. The video began to play. He watched Sarah, Amara, and Yuki die. He watched it 3 times. His face did not move. His hands did not shake. But something changed in his eyes. Something cold and dangerous. Below the video was one word. "Remember." Volkov closed his eyes. Memories came back. Sarah had been a young lieutenant when they first met. She was smart and brave. He trained her himself. She called him uncle. Amara joined his special unit during the first contact wars. She saved his life twice. She had a big laugh and a bigger heart. She said Volkov was like a father to her. Yuki was the youngest. She was brilliant with strategy, quiet and thoughtful. She always brought him tea when they planned missions. She told him once that he taught her what honor meant. They were not just his students. They were his family. The only family he had. Volkov stood up. He walked to a locked closet in the back room. The door had not been opened in 5 years. Inside hung his old military uniform, black tactical gear, weapons he thought he would never touch again. On the wall hung a patch. It showed a skull with red eyes. Below it were words in Old Russian. Baba Yaga, the nightmare, the boogeyman, the thing that hunted monsters. During the first contact wars, enemy soldiers whispered that name. They said Baba Yaga could not be killed. They said he appeared from shadows and vanished like smoke. They said he always found his targets, always. Volkov had buried that name. He thought he was done with killing. He wanted peace, but the Empire made a terrible mistake. They killed his daughters. He pulled the uniform from the closet. He ran his fingers over the patch. Then he began to pack. 3 days later, Volkov sent a message to Earth Command. It was short. Just 4 words, "I'm going hunting." The commander at Earth Defense read the message. Her face went pale. She knew who Volkov was. She knew what he had done during the war. She knew that name, Baba Yaga, she whispered. God help the Empire. She wanted to stop him. She wanted to send him orders to stand down, but she did not. Instead, she opened a secure file. She sent Volkov everything Earth intelligence had on the Kaldrith Empire. Ship movements, base locations, names of commanders, security codes. She added one note. For Sarah, Amara, and Yuki, make them pay. Volkov received the files. He studied them for hours, maps, photos, intelligence reports. He memorized everything. Then he erased all traces from his computer. He looked at one photo for a long time. It showed the 3 commanders during happier days. They were smiling. Sarah had her arm around Amara. Yuki was laughing at something. They looked so young, so alive. Volkov folded the photo carefully. He put it in his pocket close to his heart. Then he picked up his weapons and walked out the door. He did not look back at his house. He would not need it anymore. Across the galaxy, the Kaldrith Empire continued its celebrations. They thought they had won. They thought they had broken humanity's spirit. They thought they were safe in their power. They were wrong. In the old stories from Earth, Baba Yaga was a witch who lived in the forest. She flew through the night in a mortar. She swept away her tracks with a broom. She came for the wicked. She came for those who deserved punishment. The Kaldrith did not know these stories. They did not understand what they had awakened. They killed 3 good women who only wanted to protect the innocent. Now something worse than death was coming for them. Baba Yaga was coming, and the galaxy would never be the same. Volkov's ship was small and fast. It had no markings, no registration. It was the kind of ship that smugglers used, perfect for someone who did not want to be found. He traveled for 2 weeks. During that time, he sent encrypted messages, old codes from the war, codes that only certain people would recognize. The first response came from Sergeant Major Maria Santos. She was running a security company on Mars. She had been one of Volkov's best demolition experts. She could make a bomb from almost anything. "I saw what they did," her message said. "I'm in." Maria had served under Commander Okonkwo. Amara had saved Maria's entire unit during the Proxima massacre. Maria owed her everything. Now she would repay that debt. The second response came from Dr. Heinrich Kobayashi. He was not a soldier anymore. He taught physics at a university. But during the war, he had designed weapons for special operations. Terrible weapons that could destroy entire bases. The Empire had raided his home colony 5 years ago. They killed his wife and 2 daughters. They said it was an accident. Heinrich knew better. He had been waiting for a chance to strike back. "I have new designs," his message said. "Things they have never seen. I'm coming." The third response came from Lieutenant Zara King. She was the youngest of the group, only 28 years old. But she was the best infiltration specialist Volkov had ever trained. Zara could slip past any security system. She could become invisible in plain sight. She had learned from Commander Chen herself. Sarah had been her mentor. "Sarah was like a sister to me," Zara's message said. "Tell me when and where. I'll be there." They met on a forgotten mining station at the edge of human space. The station was old and abandoned, perfect for a secret meeting. Volkov arrived first. He waited in the dark docking bay. One by one, the others came. They did not hug. They did not smile. They just nodded to each other. They all knew why they were there. Maria looked older. Her dark hair had streaks of gray. She carried a large bag of equipment. Heinrich had lost weight. His eyes were tired, but his hands were steady. Zara looked the same as always, calm and focused. They gathered in a small room. Volkov spread maps on the table. Star charts, security layouts, photos of Imperial officials. "We're not fighting their military," Volkov said. His voice was quiet but hard. "We're going after the leaders. The ones who gave the orders. The ones who pulled the triggers." Maria studied the maps. "They'll have heavy security." "Yes," Volkov said. "But security can be broken." "Heinrich, show them." Heinrich opened his case. Inside were small devices. They looked like coins. "Electromagnetic pulse generators," he explained. "Silent, invisible to scanners. They will shut down any electronic security for 30 seconds. Zara picked up one of the devices. She examined it carefully. 30 seconds is enough. I can bypass physical locks in 15. "We also need a ship," Maria said. "Something that can get past Imperial sensors." Volkov pulled out another file. "Earth intelligence has been working on something. An experimental stealth corvette. They call it the Nochnoi Zver, Night Beast in Old Russian." He showed them photos. The ship was dark gray, almost black. It had an unusual shape, smooth and predatory. "It uses adaptive camouflage," Volkov explained. "It can mimic any ship's signature. Imperial scanners will see a friendly vessel, or they will see nothing at all." "Where is it?" Heinrich asked. "Hidden at a black site near Jupiter. Earth Command has already approved the transfer. They want this to happen. Officially, they know nothing. Unofficially, they're giving us everything we need." The team spent 3 days planning. They studied Imperial patrol routes. They memorized security protocols. They trained together, rebuilding the coordination they once had. On the 4th day, they traveled to Jupiter. The black site was hidden in the shadow of one of the planet's moons. The Nochnoi waited in a secured hangar. The ship was beautiful in a deadly way. Maria ran her hand along its hull. "This will do nicely." Inside, the ship was equipped with everything they needed. Weapons, medical supplies, advanced computer systems. And in the armory, they found their gear. black tactical suits, untraceable weapons, encrypted communication devices. Everything was marked with a small symbol. A skull with red eyes, the mark of Baba Yaga. Volkov held up one of the suits. He looked at his team. Once we start this, there's no going back. The Empire will hunt us. We might not survive. If anyone wants to leave, now is the time. No one moved. No one spoke. They had all made their choice. Maria checked her explosives. For Amara, Heinrich loaded his devices. For my family. Zara attached her tools to her belt. For Sarah, Volkov put on his suit. He checked his weapons one last time. For all of them, and for every innocent soul the Empire has destroyed. The Nochnois launched silently. It slipped away from Jupiter like a shadow. Imperial sensors detected nothing. The ship vanished into the darkness of space. On the bridge, Volkov set the course. Their first target was Governor Thektar. He was the one who signed the execution order. He would be the first to pay. In the Empire, whispers were starting. Old soldiers who had fought humans during the first contact wars remembered stories. Stories about a shadow that killed without mercy. Stories about something called Baba Yaga. Most dismissed these stories as propaganda, humans trying to scare them. But a few veterans knew better. They remembered faces that had looked confident one day and were gone the next. They remembered finding bodies with no witnesses. No evidence. Just death. Those veterans began to feel afraid. If Baba Yaga was real and if the Empire had truly angered it, then nothing would stop what was coming. They were right to be afraid. The Kaldrith system was one of the Empire's most important territories. Governor Thektar ruled from a massive palace in the capital city. He believed he was untouchable. He had 5,000 soldiers protecting him. Advanced defense systems. The best security money could buy. Tonight he was hosting a grand celebration. Imperial officers filled the Great Hall. They drank and laughed. They toasted their recent victory over the humans. Thektar stood on a balcony, looking down at his guests with satisfaction. He did not see the Nochnois slip into orbit. The ship's camouflage made it invisible. Imperial sensors showed nothing unusual, just the regular traffic of cargo vessels and military patrols. 4 figures dropped from the ship in a silent insertion pod. They fell through the night sky like dark rain. Their suits absorbed radar. Their descent was perfectly calculated. They landed on the palace roof without a sound. Zara moved first. She approached the security panel. Her fingers worked quickly. She placed one of Heinrich's devices against the electronic lock. A soft pulse. Every camera within 50 meters went dark for 30 seconds, 20 seconds. She bypassed the physical lock. 15 seconds. The door opened. 10 seconds. They slipped inside. 5 seconds. The door closed behind them. 0. The cameras came back online. They showed nothing but an empty roof. Inside the palace, guards walked their normal routes. They saw nothing wrong. Their equipment showed no alerts. They had no idea that death had entered their building. Volkov led the team through maintenance corridors. He had memorized every hallway, every guard post, every security measure. They moved like ghosts, silent, invisible, deadly. They reached the Great Hall. Below them, the celebration continued. Officers laughed and drank. Some were the same soldiers who had executed Sarah, Amara, and Yuki. They thought they were heroes. They thought they were safe. Maria set her charges. Small devices placed in precise locations. Exits, power supplies, communication arrays. When the time came, no one would escape. No one would call for help. Heinrich disabled the backup systems. His devices created electromagnetic fields that would block all signals. The palace would become a cage. Zara found Thektar on his balcony. He stood alone watching his party. She moved behind him like a shadow. He did not hear her. He did not sense her. One moment he was smiling. The next he felt cold metal against his neck. "Don't move," Zara whispered. "Don't speak." Thektar froze. Fear filled his eyes. How had someone gotten past his security? How was this possible? Volkov stepped onto the balcony. Thektar stared at him. The human was older. Gray hair, weathered face, but his eyes were like ice. Cold and merciless. "Do you know who I am?" Volkov asked quietly. Thektar could not speak. Terror had stolen his voice. "You executed 3 women. Commander Sarah Chen, Commander Amara Okonkwo, Commander Yuki Tanaka. Do you remember them?" Thektar nodded slowly. "Good," Volkov said. "They were my family. Now you understand why I'm here." Below in the hall, the celebration stopped. Maria had activated her charges. The exit sealed. The lights flickered and died. Emergency power kicked in, but the backup systems were already disabled. Darkness fell over the palace. Officers drew their weapons. They shouted orders, but their communication devices were dead. Their scanners showed nothing. They were trapped and blind. Volkov's team moved through the darkness. They knew exactly where to go. They had night vision. They had training. They had purpose. One by one, the Imperial officers fell. Quick, clean, professional. Volkov's team did not miss. They did not hesitate. This was not a battle. This was an execution. When the emergency power finally restored, the Great Hall was silent. 50 Imperial officers lay dead. Not a single civilian had been harmed. The palace staff were locked in safe rooms, unharmed. Only the military targets were eliminated. On each body, Volkov left the same message. 3 silver stars pinned to the chest. 1 for Sarah, 1 for Amara, 1 for Yuki. By the time backup forces arrived, Volkov's team was gone. They slipped away as silently as they had come. The Nachtnoise Ver lifted from orbit, invisible to all sensors. They vanished into deep space. News of the attack spread quickly. The Kaldrith military could not believe it. Someone had penetrated their strongest defenses. Someone had killed a governor and his entire command staff. It should have been impossible. The Empire's High Council met an emergency session. They demanded answers. How had this happened? Who was responsible? Then intelligence officers brought the report about the silver stars. 3 stars, 3 executed commanders. The connection was clear. An old intelligence officer stood up. His scales had turned gray with age. He had fought humans during the first contact wars. He looked afraid. "I know these methods," he said quietly. "I have seen this before. During the war, there was a human operative. The soldiers called him Baba Yaga. He was like a ghost. He could not be stopped. We lost many commanders to him." Emperor Kaldrath laughed. "That's just a human legend. Propaganda to scare soldiers." The old officer did not smile. "I saw the bodies, Your Majesty. I saw what he did. If Baba Yaga has returned, then we have made a terrible mistake." But the Emperor dismissed the warning. He ordered increased security. He sent messages to all Imperial commanders to be vigilant. He believed his military could stop any threat. He was wrong. 3 days later, Volkov struck again. An Imperial weapons depot exploded. Not a single guard survived. 3 silver stars were found at the gate. 2 days after that, a slave processing facility was destroyed. The slaves were freed and sent to safe worlds. The Imperial officers running the facility were found dead in their quarters. 3 silver stars on each body. The Empire's sense of security began to crack. If their governors could be killed, if their bases could be destroyed, then maybe they were not as powerful as they thought. Across the galaxy, other species watched with interest. The mighty Kaldrith Empire was being challenged. Someone was making them bleed. Someone was showing that they could be hurt. And in the darkness of space aboard the Nachtnoise Ver, Volkov studied his next targets. The list was long. He had only just begun. The hunt had started. And Baba Yaga never stopped until his prey was caught. Emperor Kaldrath finally understood the danger. This was not a random terrorist, this was something worse. Someone who knew their weaknesses, someone who could not be stopped by normal means. He called for Admiral Zarketh, the Empire's greatest military strategist. Zarketh had won 100 battles. He had crushed rebellions on 20 worlds. If anyone could stop this threat, it was him. The Admiral studied the attack patterns. He read every report. He examined the evidence. Then he looked at the Emperor with worried eyes. "This is not a terrorist group," Zarketh said. "This is a small team, highly trained, probably 4 or 5 individuals. They know our systems. They know our tactics. They're choosing targets for maximum psychological impact." "Can you stop them?" the Emperor asked. Zarketh was silent for a moment. "Your Majesty, I reviewed the records from the first contact wars. There was a human operative. His code name was Baba Yaga. His methods match what we're seeing now." "So it's him? He's real?" "I believe so. And if it is, then we face our greatest challenge. He killed 17 of our senior commanders during the war. We never caught him. We never even came close. The Emperor's face showed fear for the first time. "What do we do?" "We hunt the hunter," Zarketh said. "But we must be careful. Very careful." While the Empire tried to respond, Volkov continued his campaign. He struck an Imperial communications hub, destroyed a supply convoy, eliminated a military tribunal that was sentencing civilians to death. Each attack was precise. Each target was carefully chosen. No civilians were harmed, only Imperial military and political leaders who had committed crimes against innocent people. The galaxy watched with growing interest. News reports spread across every world. Some called Volkov a terrorist, others called him a hero. But everyone called him by the same name now, Baba Yaga. Then Volkov did something unexpected. He broadcast a message, not encrypted. Open for anyone to hear. It reached every news network in the galaxy. His face appeared on screens everywhere. Older, tired, but his eyes were hard as steel. 3 weeks ago, the Kaldreth Empire executed 3 human commanders, Sarah Chen, Amara Okonkwo, Yuki Tanaka. They killed these women because they refused to bomb civilian populations, because they chose honor over cruelty. He paused. The galaxy listened. The Empire thinks this was a show of strength. They were wrong. It was their greatest mistake. Those 3 women were the best humanity had to offer. They protected the weak. They fought for justice. The Empire murdered them for being decent people. He held up documents. I have proof of the Empire's crimes. Civilian massacres, slave camps, biological weapons used against peaceful colonies. The Empire has committed atrocities across this galaxy. They hide behind their power. They think no one can stop them. Volkov's voice grew colder. They were wrong. Justice is coming. For Sarah, for Amara, for Yuki, for every innocent life the Empire has destroyed. The broadcast ended, but the data dump continued. Thousands of files, evidence of war crimes, proof of corruption, names of officials who had ordered massacres, financial records showing stolen wealth. The galaxy exploded with reaction. News agencies verified the files. They were real. Everything Volkov said was true. The Empire had been lying for years. Client species began to question their loyalty. If the Empire could execute honorable commanders, if they could commit such crimes, then were they worth following? Protests erupted on Imperial worlds. The military tried to suppress the news, but it was too late. The truth was out. The Empire's reputation was shattered. Inside the Imperial Palace, panic spread. Counselors argued. Generals blamed each other. The Emperor raged and threatened. But nothing could stop what was happening. Admiral Zarketh knew this was psychological warfare at its finest. Volkov was not just killing Imperial leaders. He was destroying their credibility, making them look weak, turning the galaxy against them. We must do something dramatic, the Admiral told the Emperor. Something to restore our image of strength. The Emperor agreed. Offer a bounty, an entire star system to whoever captures or kills this Baba Yaga. The announcement went out. Bounty hunters and mercenaries across the galaxy saw opportunity. An entire system. Unimaginable wealth. All they had to do was catch one human. But Volkov was not finished. That same night, he struck again. This time the target was bold. Reckless even. 3 Imperial princes were found dead. 1 in his fortress, 1 on his private ship, 1 in a heavily guarded palace. All 3 deaths looked like accidents at first. A fall, a malfunction, a poisoning. But investigators found the marks. 3 silver stars hidden on each body. The message was clear. Even the royal family was not safe. No security could stop Baba Yaga. No amount of guards could protect you if you were on his list. Imperial officials began to panic. Some tried to flee. Others increased their personal security to absurd levels. A few even contacted human representatives, asking for protection. They would rather face human justice than wait for Baba Yaga to come. Inside the Nochnoy Zver, Volkov's team prepared for their next phase. Maria was tired but determined. Heinrich had grown thinner, but his hands were steady. Zara moved with the same quiet confidence. "They're scared now," Maria said. "Good. Let them feel what their victims felt." Heinrich checked his remaining devices. "We're running low on some equipment, but I have enough for the main target." "The Emperor," Zara said quietly. "We're going after him next, aren't we?" Volkov looked at the star charts. The Imperial Throne world was the most heavily defended location in the galaxy. Thousands of warships, millions of soldiers, security systems built over centuries. "Yes," he said, "but not yet. First, we wait. Let the fear build. Let them make mistakes. The more paranoid they become, the weaker they are." He touched the photo in his pocket. Sarah, Amara, and Yuki smiled up at him. "Soon," he promised quietly. "Soon you'll have justice." Across the galaxy, the Empire trembled. For the first time in their long history, they knew real fear. An enemy they could not see. A threat they could not stop. A judgment they could not escape. Baba Yaga had brought terror to the Empire, and the worst was yet to come. Admiral Zarketh was desperate. He knew Volkov would come for the Emperor eventually. The question was how to stop him. Traditional security had failed. Technology had failed. What else could he try? Then he had an idea. A dangerous idea. He would use false intelligence. Create a trap that Volkov could not resist. The bait would be a supposed fourth human commander, secretly held prisoner. If Volkov came to rescue her, they would capture him. The Admiral leaked the information carefully. Through channels he knew human intelligence monitored. The message was specific. Commander Lisa Park was alive. She was being held in a secret facility. She would be executed in 3 days. Aboard the Nochnoy Zver, Volkov received the intelligence. He studied it carefully. Maria, Heinrich, and Zara gathered around. "It's a trap," Zara said immediately. "Has to be." Volkov nodded slowly. "Yes, the intelligence is too clean. Too convenient. They want us to come, so we don't go," Maria said. "We wait for a better opportunity." But Volkov was quiet. He looked at the photo of Sarah, Amara, and Yuki. What if there really was a fourth commander? What if she was real? Could he risk leaving her to die? "We go," he said finally. "That's suicide," Heinrich protested. "They'll have everything ready for us." "Probably," Volkov agreed. "But it's also the only way to get close to the Emperor. The facility is near the Imperial Palace. If we're going there anyway, we might as well finish what we started." He looked at his team. "I'm not ordering you to come. This is voluntary. You've already done more than enough." Maria checked her weapons. "I'm in. Let's finish this." Heinrich loaded his final devices. "For my daughters." "I'm with you," Zara smiled sadly. "Sarah would never forgive me if I let you go alone." "I'm coming too." But Volkov had another card to play. He sent a message to Earth Command. Just 2 words. Final strike. Earth understood. They had been preparing for this moment. A battle fleet had been moving into position for weeks, quietly, secretly. When Volkov made his move, they would create the perfect distraction. The Nochnoy Zver approached the Imperial Throne world. As expected, they were detected this time. Alarms blared. Warships moved to intercept. The trap was springing. Then Earth's fleet arrived. Hundreds of human warships dropped out of faster-than-light travel. They began engaging Imperial forces immediately. Chaos erupted across the system. Admiral Zarketh watched in horror. This was not part of the plan. The humans had brought an entire fleet. His carefully prepared trap was falling apart. In the confusion, the Nochnoy Zver slipped through. Volkov's team landed on the palace grounds. They fought their way inside. Imperial guards tried to stop them, many fell. But the team kept moving forward. Heinrich reached the palace shields. He set his final device. "This will bring them down for 5 minutes. Make it count." He stayed behind to ensure the device worked. Imperial soldiers found him. He died buying his team time. Maria covered their advance. She held a crucial corridor against waves of guards. "Go!" she shouted. "Finish it." She was hit multiple times. She fell still fighting. She bought them the minutes they needed. Zara and Volkov reached the throne room. More guards blocked their path. Zara fought like a demon. She was wounded but kept moving. "I'll hold them here," she gasped. "Go get him." For Sarah. Volkov kicked open the throne room doors. Emperor Kaldrath stood there, flanked by his personal guard. But behind them stood Admiral Zarketh. The admiral looked tired and sad. "I knew you would come," the Emperor said, "even knowing it was a trap. That's the weakness of you humans. You care too much." Volkov raised his weapon. "That's not weakness. That's what makes us different from you. We protect our own. We honor our fallen. You wouldn't understand." The guards moved to shoot, but Admiral Zarketh raised his hand. "Wait," he looked at the Emperor. "Your Majesty, this must end. We executed 3 honorable commanders. We started this. And now our empire is falling apart because of one man's revenge." "What are you saying?" the Emperor demanded. "I'm saying we deserve this. We created our own nightmare." The Admiral turned to his guards. "Lower your weapons," the Emperor screamed in rage. He drew his own weapon and shot the Admiral. Zarketh fell, but the guards did not raise their weapons again. They stood still, watching. The Emperor pointed his weapon at Volkov. His hand shook. You destroyed everything. My empire, my power, my family. You destroyed it yourself," Volkov said. "The moment you killed 3 innocent women who only wanted to protect civilians. You thought it would make you look strong. Instead, you showed the galaxy what you really are. A tyrant, a murderer." The Emperor tried to shoot, but one of his own generals stepped forward and took the weapon from his hand. The general looked at Volkov with respect. "The Admiral was right," the general said. "This ends now. The Emperor will stand trial for his crimes. The empire as it was is finished." Volkov lowered his weapon. He had come for vengeance, but he found something else. Justice. True justice. He walked to a window. Outside, the battle was ending. Earth's fleet and Imperial ships were standing down. Ceasefire messages were being broadcast. Volkov activated his communicator. He broadcast on all frequencies. "This is Captain Alexei Volkov. Commander Sarah Chen, Commander Amara Okonkwo, and Commander Yuki Tanaka have been avenged. Justice has been served," he paused. "The Empire will answer for its crimes. But the killing ends today. For Sarah, for Amara, for Yuki. They would have wanted peace, not more death." The galaxy listened, and slowly people began to understand. Baba Yaga had not been a monster seeking blood. He had been a father seeking justice for his daughters. Weeks later, Volkov stood at a memorial. 3 new statues had been erected on Earth. Sarah Chen, Amara Okonkwo, Yuki Tanaka, heroes who died for their principles. 3 more names were added below. Maria Santos, Heinrich Kobayashi, Zara King. They had given everything to honor their friends. Volkov placed flowers at each statue. He looked older now, more tired, but there was peace in his eyes. Earth Command offered him medals, honors, a position training new operatives. He refused them all. He just wanted to go home, to his quiet colony, to his garden. But 2 months later, a message arrived at his home. A new threat had emerged. A warlord was enslaving colonies in the outer territories. People were suffering. People needed help. Volkov sat on his porch. He looked at the stars. Then he looked at the small shrine he had built. Photos of Sarah, Amara, Yuki, Maria, Heinrich, and Zara smiled at him. He touched the 3 silver stars he kept on his mantle, 1 for each of his daughters. They had taught him that honor was worth dying for, that protecting the innocent was the highest calling. Slowly, Volkov stood up. He walked to his closet. The black tactical gear was still there. The weapons. The patch with the skull and red eyes. He had thought he was done. He had hoped for peace. But as long as evil existed, as long as innocent people suffered, his work was not finished. Baba Yaga began to pack. Across the galaxy, tyrants and warlords continued their crimes. They thought they were safe. They thought no one could stop them. They were wrong. In the darkness, something stirred. Something old and patient and deadly. A ghost that protected the innocent. A nightmare that hunted monsters. The legend of Baba Yaga would never die. Because as long as humanity needed protecting, as long as justice needed to be served, he would answer the call. The galaxy had learned its lesson. When you hurt the innocent, when you kill the honorable, you awaken something you cannot control. You awaken humanity's guardian. You awaken Baba Yaga. and once awakened he never truly rests.